Kyber crystals have always been a fascinating part of Star Wars lore, as, while they're used to power lightsabers and the Death Star, no one quite understands them fully, but it looks like the rabbit hole's about to go even deeper, as Andor's 5th episode may have just introduced us to an ancient crystal. In today's video, we're going to talk about this new type of Kyber crystal and what they're all about, so keep watching. First off, Andor's blue crystal is a sign of trust. Unlike other Star Wars media, the Kyber crystal in Andor isn't actually used for fighting. In fact, so far, it hasn't turned into a planet-destroying superweapon or anything crazy either, and that's obviously by design, because this is a much more grounded story without the Jedi and Sith drama. Still, the fact that a crystal's made its way to the series so early in its runtime is pretty fascinating. What's more, this is a special type of Kyber that we've never seen in any other show or movie. It all starts off in episode 4, when Luthen Rael hands this necklace over to Cassian as a down payment for his help on the job. Now, if you don't know, Kyber crystals aren't cheap, so this was a surefire way for the rebel leader to get our protagonist on board. Given as a sign of trust, Luthen explains that not only is this specific crystal a Kawati signet, but it's also a quote-unquote sky stone from the ancient world. Apparently, the stone's meant to signify and celebrate the uprising against Rakatan invaders. And yeah, that is indeed a nod to the Knights of the Old Republic. That's not all though, cause in case the mission goes bust, Cassian can just sell the stone instead. Guess how much money it'd fetch? 10,000? 20,000? Nope, this bad boy's worth at least 30,000 credits. So of course he doesn't refuse and takes it on the mission with him. Little does he know, however, that the crystal would end up introducing more drama into his already tumultuous life.
It's a down payment. It's a Kawati signet. Blue Kyber, Sky Stone.
Next up, Arvel Skeen spots the new Kyber crystal. Obviously, when Andor shows up to the rebel camp, no one really trusts him cause, well, they don't want any random dude walking into their team. But since they're desperate, they decide to take him in and give him the pilot's job to get them out of the Imperial base. Fast forward to episode 5, and things are still more or less smooth between everyone, except that Arvel Skeen's keeping a keen eye on our protagonist. He prods away, trying to figure out exactly what Andor's actual intentions are, and while he doesn't get his answer at the camp, their scouting trek to the top of a mountain results in a big moment of drama. Skeen grabs Cassian and pulls the necklace off of him, showing everyone that, yep, this shady guy's got a secret after all. Like, why is he hiding a stone that's worth over 30,000 credits while he's on a rebel mission? Doesn't compute, right? In between all these accusations, though, the rebel says something very fascinating. He keeps calling it a Sky Kyber. Now, of course, Luthen's also referred to it as a Sky Stone before, but the difference is that we didn't know what context he was saying it in, and for all intents and purposes, it could have meant something related to the Kawati tradition. Skeen's discovery, on the other hand, solidifies the fact that this is indeed a brand new type of Kyber crystal, which in Star Wars lore could have some pretty huge ramifications.
He comes here with nothing but the clothes on his back and a stone worth 30,000 credits.
What's more, the crystal isn't sourced from a normal planet. Here's the intriguing part about all of this. No one actually knows what a Sky Kyber is. Like, is it alluding to the fact that it crashes down to the surface like a meteor, or does it mean something else entirely? Well, again, other than the writers of the show, no one's aware, because this hasn't been mentioned in any other Star Wars media. What's more, even if we go digging and look at other planets where one would usually source a Kyber crystal, we won't find one that resembles this little guy. Ilum, for example, is a snow-covered world where Jedi younglings go to train and find a crystal for their lightsabers. On that planet, though, they're all dotted around in a cave, and all you've got to do is let the Force guide you to one. Or there's Christophsis, which again doesn't seem to have any Sky Kyber on it, so Andor Stone is a new addition to the canon, and from what we can gather, it's found during the ancient eras, way before the prequel trilogy. Oh, and we don't mean the High Republic or anything like that. This thing probably existed thousands of years in the past. Not to mention the crystal's importance in Andor. Alright, let's forget about someone potentially making a supercharged lightsaber out of this crystal or whatever. Instead, it's more important to talk about how the Kyber is important to Andor. As a matter of fact, we're pretty sure that it's gonna play a very prominent role in the later episodes of the show. Plus, even Luthen's concerned about Andor taking it away with him and disappearing. That's the thing though, if the Empire gets its hands on Andor and brings him to the ISB, they could use the crystal and trace it back to the rebel leader, or as they like to call him, Axis, and that's why he tasks the crew's leader, Vel, to find Cassian. But wait, how could the Empire trace Luthen using a Kyber crystal? Well, you see, the guy's basically hiding in plain sight on Coruscant by acting as a quote-unquote purveyor of ancient antiquities, like he's got a museum and everything. Besides, Mon Mothma, who's known to not like the Emperor, visits him a lot as well, so you wouldn't need a Sherlock Holmes in your ranks to figure that one out. That's not the only reason behind the crystal's significance though. Andor having his own piece of Kyber also thematically ties him them to Rogue One's Jyn Erso, who got one from her mother. This, perhaps, is the show's way of foreshadowing that their destinies are intertwined, and that they're meant to die together for the rebel cause. Let's look at just how powerful a Kyber crystal is. We've talked a lot about the special Kyber crystal in Andor, but what significance do these gems have in the overall Star Wars lore? Well, for starters, they're what we call living crystals. Basically, they're affected by the Force and are, for a lack of a better word, sentient. They react to all living things around them. In fact, the reactions they have are also different based on the individual. The Jedis, for example, go up to Ilum to complete their training and craft a lightsaber. There, all they've got to do is focus on the Force and seek the crystal that's calling them, and if the Kybers warm to the touch, then it's meant for them. But of course, they're not only used to power lightsabers. In fact, one of their more common uses is, of course, as weapons of mass destruction. Yep, they're basically nuclear bombs that can destroy entire civilizations in one go. Oh, and we're not just talking about 8 of them powering the Death Star. Even trying to tinker with them too much or breaking their lattice can result in a catastrophe. As a matter of fact, The Force Awakens Visual Dictionary even mentions a huge crystal that ruptured and left an entire planet of petrified bodies at the Battle of Malachor. Coming up, the crystals affect everyone. These living rocks can do a lot more than just physical destruction. In fact, they can actually affect someone's state of mind too. Yep, they're that strong. Apparently, Kyber crystals are connected to all living things via the Force, and they use this to influence a person's emotions too. Seriously, whether you're a Jedi trying to craft your first lightsaber or a Sith Lord, the crystal's gonna alter your view of the world. In their natural state, they can enhance the light within a youngling, or if you've got the dark side in your heart, then they can lead you down the path of becoming a Sith too. What's more, anyone who's got any semblance of knowledge about them has a price on their head. Like, there's a reason the Jedi don't open up their old scriptures about these things anymore.
Insensitive.
Finally, even Vader was affected by a crystal. Now, Darth Vader was easily one of the strongest Force users in the galaxy. Like, the guy could single-handedly take out an entire army without drawing his saber. But even he's not immune to the crystal's powers. Force lightning, for example, was a dark side ability that was inaccessible to Vader, cause, well, he didn't have enough living tissue on him. That said, in the Star Wars legend novel Splinter of the Mind's Eye, he stands so close to a powerful Kyber crystal that he produces Force lightning too. So yeah, they can amplify existing Force powers too. And that's why Star Wars has always hidden the fact that they'll always be too valuable and powerful to ignore. Besides, even if we know little about their inner workings, we still know that they're not your average rock salts. That's a wrap for this video. Which Kyber crystal color would you choose for your own lightsaber? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.